In this video, we're going to be covering how to install a container pool. Specifically, this is a mod container pool, a company from Canada. These pools are designed to be plug and play, meaning all the major utilities, lights, filter, heater, plumbing, electric, all that is connected from the factory and tested. So all you should have to do once it arrives is have a professional licensed plumber and electrician complete the connections to your home and fill it with water. Here we're starting to cut out the sod and begin the excavation for the footprint of the pool. The pool is about 40 feet long, and then if you include the equipment room, which is attached to the pool, it's about another 4 feet, so total 44 feet by 9 feet wide. Recommendations from the factory or from the manufacturer are either a 6-inch concrete leveling pad or at least 8 inches of crushed gravel, like a limestone, commonly called 411s around here, or 304s. You can see here we're about halfway through the dig and we found some drains. At first, we didn't think these were active as they were pretty dry on the inside. Later on, we found out they are still active. At the base of the container pool, you'll have to install footer drains that go all the way around the pool and direct the water away from the foundation. These pipes can be a perforated PVC with a filter around it. You can see them laying out here. You can see our gravel pad. The gravel gets compacted in 3-inch layers. Here's the pool being backed into the yard after the crane's already been set up. We got this pool placed just in time. The crane transmission went out and the boom was stuck in the air for 3 days, just shortly after we got the pool placed. This is not your average crane that we use. This site was a bit tricky with it being mostly sloped from the main road all the way to the backyard. The homeowner had trouble finding a crane company willing to take on the project and having a crane large enough to be able to reach from the front yard to the back. That object that just fell is a transparent piece of plexiglass or some similar material that actually separates the steps of the pool. Separates it from the remaining portions of the water, and that area can be heated like a hot tub. Once the pool's uncovered, you'll see where the steps are, and actually underneath them is where the equipment is located, like your pool filter, heater, electric panel. All that's right underneath the steps. Picture there on the left. Here we had to form a concrete wall for the equipment room. Video on the right is where we found out these pipes are still active and need to be rerouted around our concrete wall and along the pool. utilities come through the concrete wall. That's just gas and electric. On the right, I'm breaking off the tie-back pins. I'm not really sure what they're called, but they hold the concrete forms together. And they just get snapped off like that after you pull off the forms. At this point, we've started filling the pool and had to backfill along one side. That way we can get our machine in and bring materials closer. Now we're starting on the retaining wall footer. This retaining wall is going to hold up the entire patio. Most of the patio, I should say. It's about 10 feet tall at its highest point. Geogrid is on the short side, 8 feet long, and gets up to 12 feet. Geogrid, as you see on the left, is the true structural integrity of any retaining wall over 4 feet tall. We commonly put them in our walls 4 feet and under just for cheap insurance, as we call it. This gravel being dumped is clean 57s, which is an angular stone with no dust that allows water to drain freely. That way we won't get any buildup of hydrostatic pressure behind this wall, which is basically the scientific term for water pressure that pushes the wall over. When we can, we use a clamp to lift blocks and try and reduce the manual labor. These blocks are around 70 pounds each. The clamp is rated for almost 1,000 pounds. Here we are extending the far side of the wall. We had to leave this space open to make it easier for us to bring in all our gravel and materials. Had we excavated this footer from the beginning, it would have taken a lot more time and manual effort to get all the gravel and blocks in an easy place for us to keep working efficiently. So now that we have most of that wall built, we're continuing our base layer, or our footer out for our base layer, and we will only be able to bring our dingo in for the remaining construction of the wall. There's Alex doing a little air guitar action. One thing I like about these retaining wall blocks is that they have 2 lips on them. You can see it sometimes breaking that lip off depending on we want to have a setback in each layer, which is called the batter. Or if you break that lip off, you can go and make your retaining wall vertical, meaning straight up and down. So the big benefit of that is you can go from a retaining wall and transition into a seat wall. Here's Alex, what I thought was going to be telling me something important, but you'll hear what he has to say in just a second.
If only someone just gave us a Gatorade. Huh? Man, if only someone just gave us a Gatorade. Don't you do it. Don't. I don't know if you heard me tell me, but don't indulge into that. Into that Gatorade. And
Tommy doesn't know. There's there's Gatorade and some granola bars over there in the cooler.
Not cold.
They're on ice.
They just got put on ice, so they're not
He's
cold.
He's butthurt for some reason. I don't know what
No,
his deal is.
listen. What I'm saying is
It's a mind game.
It's a mind game. You take any of that, they've got us by the. They can wring us out. Don't you go dehydrated before you get into that cold.
I really want to get it.
It's orange too.
They're not cold.
It's a good flavor.
They're hot. They were in the garage.
Do it.
I'm grabbing one. They got it.
They're not
Alex's
even cold.
whole speech is caught on the GoPro. His whole monologue there. Hand actions and everything.
Hand actions and everything. Gonna go big on this one.
He's pointing and everything.
At the moment you take that.
We can put a soundbite to that and make it look like anything now.
Look at this loser.
It looks like there was some yellow ones in there too.
Ooh, yellow.
And those are all the way at the bottom,
In the ice.
like deep in the ice.
Who likes yellow?
Those are probably
glad- thank
cold.
God
This
I've
one's
got
a little
water.
chilled.
Who's throwing stuff?
Maybe because he thinks he's awesome because he took a Gatorade after my good battle.
So this entire project is, well, I should say, the patio portion of this project is built on what we would describe as an open graded base, which basically means it lets water flow through freely while being structurally stable. Our porcelain will be laid on gravel essentially. Once we get all of these 57s leveled out, we'll put a 1-inch layer of number 9 stone, which is about an 1/8 inch chipped gravel. Similar properties to the 57 limestone, being that it lets water flow through freely and is structurally stable. There was an image of the 3D rendering of what we're going to show you here. These are precast steps that will get covered with porcelain. These precast steps are about 400 or 500 pounds. Having a clamp like this makes them really easy to set and adjust if need be. Kind of see the lower patio starting to take shape now. As you saw in the 3D image before, that's what this area will look like shortly. We got our porcelain delivered. They're 24-inch by 24-inch squares, about 1 inch thick. That's our number 9 stone, all leveled out with what we call screed rails. Similar to tile indoors, you have to use a tile spacer to keep everything nice and uniform. There are special tile spacers for outdoor porcelain, which we did not use and sort of regret. Also, a huge help with laying the porcelain was a tool called the Grabo. It's a electric powered vacuum or suction cup essentially that can pull up to 300 pounds. That can hold up to 300 pounds depending on what material it is. So for instance, ceramic, which is not very porous, it can hold up 300 pounds worth of ceramic, and made it extremely easy to be able to pick up these tiles and adjust them, especially ones that were in the center and surrounded by other tiles. For instance, if they needed to be adjusted for whatever reason, this machine made it really easy to pull it out, put down some more number 9s, and set it back in there nice and level. A few taps with the rubber mallet. It's all good to go. This white side is what you want. It doesn't leave a mark. I tried using our normal dead blows. It was just too easy to crack a tile if it didn't have enough bedding under it, or there was a high point or something. It really takes some extra care using a normal dead blow to try and set these. So we had great success with these mallets. Takes a little more swings, but rather than breaking a $40 or $50 tile. Here you can see Alex breaking off the extra lip on the retaining wall blocks so that they will go into a vertical stack, which is basically straight up and down for a seat wall. The seat wall will get covered with porcelain. That cedar deck covers the equipment room, which you can see the trap door propped up for access. I also like the cedar accent. Really gives the project a nice look. Cutting the porcelain was a bit tricky with them being large format. It's definitely advised to score all the way through your cut and make sure you cut completely on each end and then cut through the middle the rest of the way. What seemed to happen is if you only cut from one side and just followed your line, as you got towards the end of your cut, the tile had a tendency to break how it wanted to. So to prevent that, scoring it all the way across and cutting full depth on each end or the perimeter would prevent the crack breaking randomly. Sort of hard to explain. Here we're placing large boulders around some trees to protect them, as we're going to be adding more topsoil. These boulder walls will protect the trees from being suffocated, essentially. Here's Alex being goofy again. It's good for morale to have a guy like that. And here's the final touches: fresh topsoil, sod. Later we came back and added some arborvitae for a year-round green screen, transforming this backyard from a bare landscape to a beautiful outdoor oasis. The homeowner modeled this project after a spa they visited in Spain that was built from travertine, and this porcelain is actually designed after natural travertine. Altogether, this project took a little over 2 months to complete. We brought in over 150 tons of gravel, 100 yards of fill dirt and topsoil, over 1,500 square feet of porcelain, 20 pallets of retaining wall block, 10 yards of concrete, and 2 happy customers. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give us a follow. Otherwise, have a good one.